You know, beneath the waves, completely unseen, there's this vast hidden network that, well, it pretty much powers our entire modern world. And no, it's not in the cloud. It's something far more real, far more physical. A hidden world of wires that we're about to uncover.
Okay, so picture this. Right now, there are roughly 400 active cables just lying on the ocean floor. Each one is only about as thick as a garden hose. But together, they are the true backbone of our planet's connectivity. They carry,
Get this, more than 95% of all international data. Yeah, we're not talking about satellites. We're talking about these physical wires. Your emails, your video calls, all of it. Just pulses of light flashing through glass fibers deep at the bottom of the sea. And the economic side of this? It's just staggering. These cables are moving over $10 trillion. And financial transactions. Every single day. This isn't just some background infrastructure. It's literally the circulatory system of the entire global economy.
So what is this thing really? The best way to think about it is like a kind of nervous system for the whole planet, just transmitting all the world's information in a flash.
And let's be really clear about how important this is. The Council on Foreign Relations puts it bluntly. Without these cables, the internet as you and I know it just stops working. Period.
So what are these things, and how in the world do they pull off such an incredible feat?
You know, the technology itself is kind of funny. On the outside, you've got this tube, feels like a garden hose. But inside, that's where the magic is. It's packed with these tiny optical fibers, each one thinner than a human hair, carrying our data encoded in flashes of light. It's a really beautiful, simple, and incredibly powerful idea.
To make this a bit more real, let's look at the MAREA cable. It's backed by Microsoft and Meta, and it stretches for more than 6,600 kilometers across the Atlantic. It's basically a data superhighway connecting the United States straight to Europe.
And that's just one ocean. On the other side of the world, you've got the Jupiter cable, funded by giants like Google and Amazon, linking the U.S. West Coast to Asia. See, these aren't just lines on a map. They are strategic digital arteries.
Now, all of this global traffic has to come ashore somewhere, right?
Well, it does, in these places called landing stations. And often, they're just these totally normal-looking buildings. But inside, trillions of data packets are being funneled through every single day. They are the physical gateways to the global internet. And, as you can probably guess, they are incredibly sensitive chokepoints.
So we have this incredible, vital network. But who controls it? For decades, the answer was pretty simple. But now, everything has changed. What we've seen is this massive power shift. The old guard, the big telecom companies like AT&T, they used to team up in these groups to build these super expensive cables. But now, the new guard, the tech giants, the content providers, they're just building their own private networks.
I mean, just look at Google's portfolio. They're not just renting a lane on the highway anymore. They are building their own global highway system, from the Americas to Asia, Europe to Africa. And why are they doing this? It's all about control. They want to control their data from the second it leaves their servers to the second it hits your screen. It gives them a massive competitive edge, speed, reliability, and total control.
This huge shift in who owns the cables has quietly turned the ocean floor into a new kind of geopolitical battlefield. The fight for the internet is no longer just about software and code. It's about the physical hardware, miles under the sea.
And this is exactly where private infrastructure suddenly becomes a huge national security issue. The Council on Foreign Relations is warning that nations are now actively trying to manipulate all this, to use it for strategic advantage, for surveillance, censorship, you name it.
A perfect example of this is the Peace Cable. It's backed by Chinese companies, and it creates what's essentially a new digital Silk Road. It connects these key regions through Pakistan and East Africa all the way to France. And, by design, it completely bypasses the traditional U.S. monitored data hubs, creating a whole new data corridor and a new sphere of influence. So, really, the most important thing to understand is this. In the 21st century, controlling the flow of data is one of the most fundamental forms of power there is. Think about it. Whoever owns or controls these cables can, potentially, monitor traffic. They can disrupt connectivity during a conflict. They can create technological dependency. They can literally redraw the map of the internet to their own advantage, shaping how entire nations connect to the rest of the world.
Which, of course, brings up a really urgent question. We've just established how absolutely critical this system is to everything we do. But just how tough is it?
How resilient? The answer? Well, it's surprisingly fragile. The threats range from the completely mundane, like a ship's anchor accidentally dragging across a cable, to the catastrophic, like a huge undersea earthquake. But now we have to deal with all these new digital threats too. Cyber attacks on those landing stations, and the very real possibility of deliberate state-sponsored sabotage.
So, the next time you hear someone talk about the cloud, I want you to remember this. The cloud isn't some abstract thing floating up in the sky. It has a physical address. It lives inside a garden hose at the bottom of the ocean, and it is far, far more fragile than you might think.